Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to make this muffled moon bracelet featuring some 8mm pearls, SuperDuos, and some beads. Remember, if you want supplies, you can look below the video in the description. We put links there to our website to get all your materials. This is actually one of our featured projects in this month's subscription kit box. If you're interested in that, click on the link as well to check out this project as well as 2 others that you can receive as a surprise to your door every month. Gather your supplies and let's get started. So I've already got a head start on my muffled moon bracelet, but I'm gonna catch you up really easily because it's the same repetitive thing. I wanted to get a couple in so you could see the vision of it before we went in and did the individual piece. Back here at the start, we have some size 8 dragon thread, 6 or 8 works. And I have on an 8/0 seed bead, a SuperDuo, an 8/0, and a SuperDuo. I've rounded them out like I'll show you how to do, and we've gone back through that 8/0 seed bead and then up through the pearl, adding another 8/0 seed bead. Just pretending here like we just got started, we added an 8/0, SuperDuo, 8/0, SuperDuo, back through that 8/0 original and back up towards the top. When you're exiting that 8/0 seed bead, you're gonna go through and grab another one of your 8mm pearls. If you want to do this with another size pearl, you can certainly try. You'll just need to change up the seed bead selection there. After you add your first 8/0 or 8mm pearl, you're going to add an 8/0 seed bead and go back down through that pearl. Nice tight pull. And you'll notice which side your thread is coming out of on the 8/0 before you went into the pearl. You want to go into the opposite side of the 8/0 when you're coming out of the pearl. From here, we're going to do our sides. You're going to add an 11, 2 8s, and a new SuperDuo. Add 2 more 8s and 11. You're going to sew through the 8/0 seed bead that's already there. You're going to go do the same thing on the other side. 1 11, 2 8s, 1 new SuperDuo, 2 8s, 1 11, back into that 8/0 seed bead that our thread was originally coming out of. Nice tight pull here through the pearl one more time. Kind of wiggle your needle here through it. Nice tight pull to pull that all together. And as you're at the top here, go through the 8/0 and we're ready to begin again. SuperDuo, 8/0, SuperDuo, go on the thread. You're going to go through that 8/0 that your thread is coming out of, the opposite side. Back up into the SuperDuo through that same first hole, and then once again out the 8/0, just like we were when we started the last one. We'll do this one more time, up through the next 8mm pearl, 8/0 seed bead goes on, down through the pearl. When I come out through the pearl, I want to make sure to go into the opposite side of that 8/0 seed bead, so see how it's coming out that one side? Make sure you're going into the opposite. When you're coming out there, add your 11, 2 8s, 1 SuperDuo, 2 8s, 1 11, and up into the 8/0 that sits above. You're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side here. Getting out some more of my SuperDuos. 11, 2 8s, SuperDuo, followed by 2 8s and an 11. Back through that center bead there. That 8/0. After you come out through the 8/0, give a nice tight pull, back up through the pearl, and once you're through the pearl, through that 8/0 seed bead, and we start again. You're going to continue that the whole length of your bracelet. You will notice that it's a tiny bit smaller than the pearls, so the pearls are going to kind of pop up toward the top. This is going to be the base layer that then as we get more of that moon and the moon shadow look, we're going to be adding more seed beads along the outer edge and catching on to that second hole of the SuperDuo. Beaders, this is the deal you've been waiting for. The PotomacBeads treasure box is packed with one of the finest assortments of high-quality beads, including seed beads, SuperDuos, check glass, melon beads, and crystal cubes. Right now, when you subscribe to the quarterly treasure box, you'll only pay for 2 months and get the 3rd month absolutely free. That's over $300 worth of beads for just $70, a massive savings of more than $230 off retail prices. Quantities are limited, so subscribe now before this quarterly offer ends. Your stash and your creative projects will thank you. Together, we create. Once you have the length of your bracelet here at the end, I want you to add 2 11-0 seed beads, 1 8-0, and approximately 32 more seed beads. What this is going to do is be the opposite end on your button. You're then going to take your needle and thread back through the 8-0 towards the project. Once you're through towards that project, you're going to once again add 2 more 11-0s, and you're going to sew into the opposite side of the 8-0 seed bead, just like we've been doing. From here, I want you to grab 1 11-0 seed bead and go into the upper hole of that first SuperDuo along the side. Now you may be saying, hey, you didn't reinforce that loop. We didn't need to, because we're going to be coming back down the bracelet as we add the opposite side. From here, then, we're going to go in and add our seed beads to the interior or to the exterior row. The exterior row is going to be 1 11-0 followed by 2 8-0 seed beads. Now, I don't want my loops to fall backwards, so we're going to do actually a quick square stitch. After you have on your 1 11 and your 2 8s, go back through the 8-0s that sit below towards the project. You're going to take those needle and thread then back through the 2 8-0s that you just put on. And then after giving a nice tight pull and making sure you have no thread showing, add 1 more 11 and up through the SuperDuo. We're going to do the same thing now on the opposite side. 1 11, then we're going to add 2 8-0 seed beads. You're going to sew into the bottom of the 8-0s that sit in the row below and up through the top there. Coming out back through the 2 8-0 seed beads that you just put on. That's a little square stitch there. Add an 11 and on to the next SuperDuo. So it's super simple. You're going to do this on both sides, but that keeps kind of that moon glare or that moon shadow that we're creating nice and stable. 1 11, 2 8s, back through the 8s that sit below, back through the 8s that you just put on. Nice tight pull, add an 11, up through the next SuperDuo. We're going to do this on both sides as we come on through. We are going to continue on this side, going down and adding those seed beads. When we get to the other side, we'll put on our cut button, and then we'll come back and add our loops or that moon phases on the opposite side as well before we exit and reinforce our loop. So you can see it goes pretty quickly. I already have 2 of them done as we go in and add those seed beads. Now they will be a tiny bit smaller, so you're going to get a 3-dimensional effect as it kind of sits with that muffled moon sitting up towards the top. So once you get to the end of one side, I'm adding an 11-0 coming out through the last SuperDuo, going into the 8, and here's where we're going to pick up our cut button to put it on. 2 15s go on, followed by 1 8, 2 11s followed by 1 8, followed by 1 11. Up through the back of the cut button, we're going to add an 11, 8, 11, and come back down through the cut button on the opposite side. And as we come down through the cut button on the opposite side, we are also going to add an 11, share the 8 that's already there, coming back down towards the bottom, 2 11s, back through the 8-0 seed bead that's there at the bottom. Now we need to reinforce this because we're not coming back this way. We're going to be going the opposite way. So I'm going up through the cut button, up through all of the seed beads that lead up to it, getting at least 2 strands through everything. And as I come down then through the opposite side here, we're going to switch from the one side to the other in the creation process. Now you do have a starter thread right here, so if you want to, you can, as you get close to that, tie those 2 threads together to finish off the end of the thread. And then coming out through the 8-0 seed bead here at the end, we're going to add an 11, and we're going to sew up through that second hole of the SuperDuos. There we go. Now we're in position if we want to. Again, we can tie off that thread. I'm not going to worry about it. We're in position, ready to start again. 1 11-0 goes on, followed by 2 8s. We're going to go through those 2 8s, doing our square stitch, back through the 8s we just put on, nice tight pull, 11-0 up through the second hole of the SuperDuo. You are continuing that pattern the whole rest of the project to get that nice kind of moon reflection on both sides of that satin pearl. Once you're get towards the end, then we'll reinforce the loop. You can see that lovely look and how it's happening. The colors really can affect this design too, so I can't wait to see all of your different colors in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Go ahead and continue up the design, creating that second row on the right now of that moon shadow. Once you get to the end of the design, after doing the second side here, I put on an 11-0 seed bead and I went through the 8-0 seed bead that is shared. I'm going to go back up through and take this opportunity to reinforce my loop, going back through all of those beads that are there. If you want to, you can actually do a peyote loop around here. I use the cup button because I think they're the easiest thing to put on and off your own bracelets. And if you're using a different clasp, you're not doing it from the subscription box, certainly you can use a wire guard or go right into the clasp and use that as well. After coming down through that 8-0 that's in the center here, we're going to want to get rid of our thread. To get rid of our thread, what we are going to do is go down into the design, down through those 2 seed beads prior to the 8. Oops, not getting our thread wrapped around. Going into the 8 that's here. At the same time, I'll go through the 11 right after. Go in towards the center of the design through the SuperDuo, through hole number 2. I'll go into hole number 1, reversing the thread on the outside of the SuperDuo there. And then what I'm going to do is tuck underneath the thread lines that run between the SuperDuo and the 8-0. I'm going to make a loop going underneath those thread lines. I'm going to sew into the loop once, and I'm going to sew into the loop twice. Sewing into the loop twice like that is going to create a nice little sewer's knot. Give a nice tight pull to tighten that up, and then burn off the extra thread to finish out your design. Once you have that finished, your muffled moon with that pretty purples and pinks around those moon shapes is all done. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this muffled moon bracelet. Remember, if you want to receive 3 new kits each month delivered to your door, you can check out our subscriptions for the kit box, or if you just need to stock up on supplies for the month, the treasure box as well. As always, if you haven't yet, hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.